Ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Narito ang balita.
Ayon kay Senador J.V. Ejercito, tila nabalam at napabayaan ang mga malalaking infrastructure project na isinusulong sa ilalim ng Build program ng Administrasyong Duterte. Partikular na ang South Long Haul Railway patungong Bicol at ang Mindanao Railway System. Sa isang press briefing, sinabi niya na kung mabibigyan ng pagkakataon ay papaabot niya mismo kay Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang kanyang pagkadismaya sa usad-pagong na implementasyon ng mga proyektong ito.
I'm hoping that itong last 3 years, ang daming political noise, ang daming ganap ngayon, but doon ako frustrate kasi we have a lot of catching up to do. Ang dami nating problema, ang dami nating kailangan gawin para makahabol sa ating mga Asian neighbors, para maging attractive.
Aniya mahalaga hindi lamang sa konektibidad, kundi bilang pundasyon para sa paglikha ng trabaho at mas maraming oportunidad ang mga proyekto gaya ng North-South Commuter Railway o NSCR, Metro Manila Subway, Mindanao Railway at PNR South Long Haul.
Kaya po nung nasil po yung NSCR and the Metro Manila Subway with Japan, lagi po ako nakasama doon and I was a witness. Na-excite po ako kasi ito na yung di ba? At least mangyayari na. On the hindsight, 1998 pa, panahon pa ng President era, North Rail, South Rail. We lost already almost 30 years.
Sabi ng Senador, sa unang taon ng Administrasyong Marcos ay umaasa siyang ipagpapatuloy ang momentum na nasimulan sa ilalim ng slogang Build Better More.
Actually, nasiro yan sa budget na nga for last year. Coming from the House, wala na zero budget. Nilagyan ng Senado yan ng at least 200 million each for the Project Management Office to continue na at least magtuloy-tuloy yung monitoring, yung studies, yung monitoring ng right of ways na kung may sakaling meron ng entity na mag-take over, ready na tayo.
Gate niya ang mga gitong proyekto ang tunay na long-term investment ng bansa. Bukod sa infrastruktura, nagpahayag din si Ejercito ng panghihinayang sa maagang bangayan sa administrasyon.
Ang aga ng bangayan sa administrasyon na ito, 1.5 years, 2 years, nagsimula na ang bangayan. Nanghinayang ako doon sa momentum with the biggest mandates ever received by both the President, the Vice President. We were off to a good start. Ang ganda ng goodwill. Kaya lang napaaga yung bangayan na ito, humantong na nga po tayo sa magkakaroon na ng impeachment.
Sa huli nananawagan si Ejercito na sana'y matapos na agad ang issue ng impeachment para naman muling matutukan ang mga totoong problema ng bansa.
Ang worry ko rito, yung sabi ko nga, Vietnam is already leaving us, nakalamang na sila they're doing all the right things. Habang tayo nakastagnate.
Nang lumabas ang balitang ito ay hindi naman nakapagpigil ang marami sa ating mga kababayan na madismaya at magbigay ng kanilang hinaing at komento sa mundo ng social media. At ayon pa sa kanila, nakaw pa more sa kaba ng bayan at tuloy-tuloy tayong pupulutin sa kangkungan. Tapusin na ang paghihirap na to at ayusin ang konstitusyon para pigilan ang mga nagsasamantala. Tama iyan, Senator GV. Dapat talagang makialam na kayo dyan sa Senado na saan napunta ang budget sa railway. Nauna pa ang kabulastugan sa walang kwentang pagpapakulong sa mga taong malaki ang naitulong sa bansa. Dito ako nabudol, kaya ko binoto si BBM Bangag. Kala ko unit team at itutuloy yung build. Dapat pala di nagpaubaya si Sara maging Pangulo. Wala nang budget para sa project, may pera para lang sa bulsa. Wala man niyang nagawang project. Matapos na lang, wala talagang maalala ang tao. I-focus sa economy, wag sa impeachment. Kitang-kita naman na ginigipit nila ang Duterte family. Sayang, kung tinuloy BBM yang nasimula ni Duterte, uunlad bansa natin. Kaganda sana. Problema, iba trip ni BBM. Bulsa, sunod-sunuran kasi tambalos-los Liza. End quote.
Let us all welcome Senator J.V. Ejercito. Hi, sir. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Magandang umaga sa inyo. Nice to be back in Kapihan. Marami tayong issues na pwedeng i-discuss ngayon. Maraming ganap ngayon. So, we can start.
Sir, unahin ko finally yung House. Inapprove na nila yung daily minimum wage bill. Kaya lang malaki yung difference between yung version ng Senate at House. Sa Senate, 100 peso. Sa House, 200 peso. So, napag-usapan na ba ng Senate paano i-address yung magkaibang version? Kung true by cam or may plano ang Senate na i-adapt na lang yung House version?
Well, the Senate passed yung 100 peso wage hike early last year pa yata, no?
Yeah,
Nauna
last year
po ang
pa.
Senado. And then yung sa House kahapon lang ho natin nakuha yung balita yesterday afternoon. So hindi pa namin napag-usapan on how to go about it, pero malaking difference. So 100 pesos and 200 pesos. So siguro before we adjourn, siguro okay, kung abot ko kung kailangan mag-bycam, sa amin naman kung ano yung in my personal position, if whatever we can give to the laborers, bigay natin, no? Kasi yung inflation natin, sobrang taas na rin ang bilihin ngayon. So kung yung 100 pesos makakatulong na yun, bakit hindi natin ibigay? Kung 200, kung kaya, bakit hindi, no? Siyempre, kung kaya nga but we have to strike a balance always. We have to make sure also that yung business will be able to survive, na hindi naman mamatay yung negosyo, no? Baka kasi masyado mabigat sa iba yan, especially for the small and medium scale businesses. So, may kasabihan nga, we do not kill the goose that lays the golden egg. Kumbaga, ibibigay natin yung maganda, politically, pero baka naman pinapatay natin yung negosyo. So, ang gusto ko makita dyan, data, statistics, information from, kailangan natin i-balance both from the employees, business sector, and also sa economic managers kung ano yung kakayanin. Sa akin, kung ano yung sagad na pwedeng ibigay natin sa mga manggagawa, ibigay natin. Especially with the rising prices of commodities, no? Yung 100 pesos, ano na lang ba mabibili mo niyan? Pero kahit paano, sa pang-araw-araw, makatulong at makadagdag yan. Kung 200 pesos, well and good, mas maganda kung maibibigay natin. But also, we have to look into the survival and sustainability. Yung basta kakayanin po ng business sector, kung hanggang saan yung kaya nila, yun ang gusto kong siguro personally, kung hanggang saan yung kaya nilang ibigay, siguro yun ang dapat nating balansehin. So, kung ano yung sa akin, kung kayang ibigay para sa magagawa, ibigay natin.
So sa tingin ninyo, may nakausap ba kayo sa business sector kung alin sa kanila yung mas acceptable, yung 100 o yung 200? O alin ba? Meet sa gitna, 150?
Well, sa akin wala pa dahil kahapon lang lumabas yung sa House version. No? And marami akong, syempre mga feedback na nakikita natin, yung natatakot yung mga small and medium scale, baka hindi raw nila kayanin. But yun nga yung gusto natin makuha. No? I know we do not have time. We only have 3 session days to go. Pero kung sakali, kung magkakaroon ba ng BICAM, magpatawag ang leadership, I want to get the information from the economic managers, of course, yung employers, kung hanggang saan yung kaya nila ibigay. Pero hanggat kayang isagad natin yung kaya ibigay. If it's 100, if 150, kung 200, bakit hindi natin ibigay?
Pero sir, kagabi, hindi pa ito napag-usapan kung ano yung magiging stand ng Senate, kung mas gustong mag-BICAM o i-adapt yung...
Well, napag-usapan din yun because we are pressed for time, no? Dahil marami pa tayong mga priority measures that are up for approval na hinahabol natin. Well, sabi nila, ba't di na natin adapt yung sa kanila para matapos
yung 200.
na. But siguro, we have a few days to consult kung sino pwede natin makonsulta. Right now, wala pa namang stand opposition ang leadership to. Wala pa namang nasabi. Pero kasi kahapon lang ng hapon to no? Na lumabas yung nabasa ko na sa social media rin, yung sa news, yung pagpasa ng 200 pesos sa wage hike sa House.
Pero personally, sa tingin nyo, meron ng pangangailangan kaya dapat may maipasang batas, may madala sa Malacanang nalalagdaan ng Pangulo, sir?
With the rising prices, with the inflation at present, sa tingin ko, kinakailangan na talaga magkaroon ng wage hike. Be it 100, 150, 200, kung ano po yung kayang ibigay na po natin. Because sabi ko nga ngayon yung 100 pesos, di ba, ano ba mararating yan, di ba? Pero kung maidadagdag man lang natin sa pang-araw-araw, palagi ko, malaking bagay din po yun.
So yung amendments sa UHC law, anong status ba nun? May BICAM?
Supposedly, schedule tayo Monday, no? Ng BICAM. Kaya lang maraming concerns kasi yung mga Philippine Medical Association, yung iba't ibang association ng mga medical practitioners. Kasi po yung House version, marami silang mga provisions, no, na idinagdag, no? Pero sa Senate version, basically it's just adjusting the premium contributions, no? Kasi nga po, ang rationale doon, ako po ang principal author nito, because when we were drafting the Universal Healthcare Law 2017-2018, pinirmahan po ito 2019, nobody foresaw the pandemic coming. Wala na yung pong mga data, yung mga projections at that time, yung pong pagtaas ng yung pag-set ng premium contribution at that time were based on prevailing circumstances. At that time, maganda ho ang takbo ng ekonomiya natin ng Pilipinas, ng world economy. So all the data were based on those information during the prevailing period. So wala naman ho nakapredict ng pandemic, and we deemed it proper that kahit na 2025 na, marami pa rin hong nagre-recover pa rin. So, we would want to give chance for everybody to be able to recover, especially our workers, na may adjust natin ng konti yung premium contributions. No, i-adjust lang and then it will, kumbaga babalik din naman yun sa, yung increase niya slowly para hindi naman sila mabigatan.
Magkapareho ba yung naipasa sa House? O malaking difference, sir?
Sa House ba ilang percent? Yung sa Senate kasi proposal namin una sa akin 4%, no? Kasi 5% na siya ngayon. Ibalik sa 4%, kaya lang during the deliberations on the floor, ang suggestion ng minority leader na minority gawin 3.25 na isagad na. Dapat nga 3%. Sabi ko baka naman di na kayanin. Especially kailangan we have to take into consideration also yung maraming concern kasi mga PMA, mga ibang mga doctors association, baka it might affect the sustainability of the program. No, we're only on the 5th year, entering the 5th year of implementation. Hindi pa ito fully implemented. No? It's a 10-year program. So baka ang concern nila, by adjusting baka maapektuhan. And also siguro nag-worry din ng marami dahil dun sa nangyaring yung subsidy that was used elsewhere, no? Na yung PhilHealth subsidy na 89 billion that was used for other purposes. So baka yun yung naging concern. So all I can assure is that right now we will make sure na hindi na mangyayari yun, no? Whatever funds of PhilHealth should stay for PhilHealth para magamit po ng miyembro. We have to increase the benefit packages. We have to improve. I'm quite positive right now with the new PhilHealth head kay Dr. Mercado na talagang yun ang sabi namin. Sabi ko, as the principal author and sponsor of the Universal Healthcare Law, our aim is to lower the out-of-pocket expense of every Filipino. Sana naman, under his leadership, we will now be able to increase yung pong contribution, benefits and also yung participation, no, ng PhilHealth. Napaka-importante kasi tinignan ko nga nakakalungkot, no, na on the average the past 3 years 18% lang ang participation ng PhilHealth sa mga medical expenses for hospital bills. Meron pa nga 5%, 2%, no, pag 100,000 ilan lang yung sinasagot ng PhilHealth. Sabi namin, paalala namin, you are not a private corporation, bakit nyo tinitipid? Pag public company, whatever, especially for services, dapat yan inuubos for the benefit of the members. So, right now, also, we are scheduled to have an oversight committee hearing on the implementation of the UAC kasi 5th year na. So halfway na. So tingnan natin kung saan ba nagkulang, saan ba nagkamali, saan ba nagkulang so that we can make the necessary adjustments.
So sir, ina-assure nyo na bago mag-adjourn si NIJE, may mararatipay na BICAM report tungkol sa UHC amendment?
We are scheduled already on Monday. No, tignan natin hopefully magkasundo kami ng House version kasi maraming provisions sa kanila eh. Sa amin po basically is just adjusting the rate more para nga maka-recover yung yung ating mga kababayan muna. So ang maraming concern yung Philippine Medical Association and other doctors organizations, medical practitioners, baka maapektuhan. We have to give the UAC a chance, no, na kumbaga hindi pa naman siya fully implemented, kumbaga it's a work in progress na siguro yung amendment could come later on.
So, ba't sumulat kayo kay Presidente regarding UHC proposed amendments?
Hopefully, since it's a priority measure na sumunod kami na sana masama rin sa LEDAC priority measures or certified. So, just in case, hopefully, makaabot. Mukha namang nasama naman. Maabot. So, it depends on Monday. But be rest assured that we will, again, just like sa wage issue, we need to strike a balance. No? Na we have to make sure that it will be sustainable. But at the same time, ang target natin, more important, mas killing ako doon sa increasing ng benefits and participation. No? Yung pong pagda-hospital ang isang pasyente, no, halimbawa 100,000, dapat at least 30% ang sagot ng PhilHealth. Pwedeng 40, pwedeng 50%. Para naman maramdaman nila na ang sarap ng pakiramdam noon na ay kahit papaano yung gobyerno through PhilHealth nandito para umalalay. Pero kung halimbawa 500,000 tapos sasagutin ng PhilHealth 7,000, 8,000 tulad ng mga nakaraan. Parang di ba? Hindi mo masyadong ramdam. So we are determined right now as the sponsored author of this UAC that we will make sure that PhilHealth will increase their case rates para po yung magiging basihan ng kanila pong magiging participation ng pag-set ng participation nila sa bawat medical expenses and hospital bills.
Okay. A more related?
Wage hike lang po.
Wage hike.
Opo.
Okay.
Balikan ko lang po yung sa wage hike, Sen. How strongly is the Senate considering yung pag-adopt ng House version? Sa lounge po ba siya napag-usapan kagabi? How many senators are pushing for it?
Actually, late afternoon na siya lumabas, no? Yung news. So, yung iba wala na masyado eh. So, napag-usapan lang ng mga nandoon. Yung, sabi na, what if i adopt their version, yung sa House, no? Wala pa naman, nothing concrete. Pero, siguro, doon tayo maglalaro. It's either 100 pesos or 200 pesos. Or, kung magkakabay ka, then we can have a compromise yung 150. But that I do not know yet, no? Pero, siguro at least ang masisigurado natin magkakaroon ng increase, no? Minimum of 100, probably a maximum of 200, yun lang. Again, we would like to hear also, bago natin yan i-push, bago natin aprubahan, we have to make sure also that the businesses can afford and can survive, no, by giving 200 pesos daily wage increase for every workers.
Okay, Maki. Same issue?
Ay, sorry.
Sige, mamaya.
Yan.
Anyway, sir, doon ko sa pagpapaliban ng EDSA rehabilitation, sapat ba yung 1 month para i-assess ano yung mga dapat gawin para tapusin daw ng 6 months instead na 2 years yung EDSA rehabilitation? At open po ba ang government sa inyong suggestion na tapusin muna yung mga railway projects bago simulan yung EDSA rehab?
Well, I think I was the only one who spoke against it, no? Kasi unang-una, pinag-usapan ba ng ano yan? Was it just DPWH? Kasama ba ibang ahensya dyan? Nagkaroon ba ng economic impact assessment bago mag-decide na magkakaroon ng total rehabilitation ng EDSA? And that will sabi ko nga, hindi lang yan chaos, hindi lang yan magulo, super gulo yan. No? Right now, what we have right now, yung volume ng vehicles talagang sobra-sobra na. Meron akong ano yan 1.8 million motorcycles, 1.5 million cars, 125,000 PUJs, 20,000 buses. Ito yung volume sa Metro Manila, no? And the main thoroughfare, of course, is EDSA. Ang isa pang worry ko dyan, yung vehicle sales sa binigay kong data noon, 300,000 every year. Ngayon po, 2024 to 2020, 500,000 pala ang bagong vehicle sales. No? So, anong ibig sabihin nun? In 3 years' time, we will have about 1 million vehicles added to our streets. And EDSA is not kahit anong rehabilitation ang gawin dyan.
Traffic
Hindi naman yan lalapad, di ba? Yun na yun eh. Ang gagawin ng rehabilitation, reblocking, ayusin yung pavement, ayusin ang sidewalks. So, ang problema natin is the volume of cars. So, kahit gaano kakinis pa yung EDSA na pwede mong higaan, sa ganda, halimbawa yung kanilang pagkakaayos, yung vehicle volume will still be the same. That's why, my suggestion is finish the ongoing railway projects, the North-South Commuter Railway, the Metro Manila Subway System, the MRT-7, and kung meron pang ibang maidadagdag. I have been talking about pushing for the railway system for the longest time, na sabi ko sa House noon, naalala ko pag nag-privilege speech ako about the railways dahil hindi pa naman masyadong traffic, wala naman nakikinig sa akin nun eh. But I think this is the way to go. Sabi ko, railway is the only way because of our increasing population, our development, yung volume ay dadami na, hindi na talaga mababawasan. Ito po yung ginawa ng ating ASEAN neighbors, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and now Vietnam. They invested heavily in infrastructure in the 90s. Ngayon po, pag pumunta kayo sa mga bansang to, they are already reaping the fruits of their labor. Ang Vietnam, inuunahan na tayo. So, yung economic impact assessment, kaya ako nabanggit, ano po, ang problema natin, we're losing 3.2 billion a day because of traffic. No? And it will increase to 5.6 billion by 2035 kung wala tayong gawing high-impact projects for infrastructure. So, yun po yung ADEA na, yung gasolinang nasusunog dahil sa traffic, yung oras ng bawat tao na naiipit sa traffic and others. Second, foreign investments. Dapat no i-consider din. Kung titignan mo ang ASEAN ngayon, dati po nasa top 3 tayo, top 5 easily. Now, inunahan tayo ng Vietnam na. Di ba? Singapore, of course, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and now Vietnam. Tapos pang-anim na tayo. One of the reasons is high cost of energy, labor cost, and weak infrastructure. So kung gagawin mo pa yung EDSA ngayon, panahon na ito, talagang yung foreign investments na inaasam natin, na tinrabaho ng na Pangulo nung unang termino, nung unang upo niya, talaga inikot niya for we are open for business.
Pwede
Wala nang pupunta sa atin.
Madi-discourage
So
sila.
we have to, ang pinaka-primary consideration is the economic impact because brought about the total rehabilitation.
So hindi yun ang sagot, sir.
Sabi ko nga, kahit gaano kakinis, kagaganda gawin mong EDSA, ganun pa rin ang vehicle volume Di ba? Hindi naman, ang aim natin, mabawasan yung vehicle volume. Paano mababawasan? Kailangan maging online na ang mga railway system. People should now use the mass transit. Pag maganda at maayos, di ba? Yan ang ginagawa sa Europe, sa Asian neighbors natin. Masyado tayo, we have become a car-centered society for so long. We need to look into mass transit because of our growing population. And I think it's not only convenience, that's why I'm pushing for the railway system, improvement of airports, infrastructure, because it will spread out the development. It will develop the countrysides, hindi lang Metro Manila, Cebu at Davao. Dapat yan, pag may railway, maikalat yan. And this will create growth development areas. We will create growth nodes, opportunities. Yan po ang magiging epekto nito. Opo, mahal po ang infrastructure, but yung pong opportunities and jobs and opportunities, doon lang natin maibibigay yan by creating new growth areas, especially in the provinces.
Sir, do you intend to inform the President and then yung mga concerned government official dyan sa iyong suggestion?
Well, I have given my piece already. Wala naman ako. Siguro kung may chance, hindi naman kasi kami madalas nagkikita ngayon. But if I am given the chance, I will tell the President, I'm hoping that itong last 3 years, ang daming political noise, ang daming ganap ngayon. But doon ako frustrate kasi we have a lot of catching up to do. Ang dami nating problema, ang dami nating kailangan gawin para makahabol sa ating mga Asian neighbors, para maging attractive. And one is infrastructure, no? Na fast track natin dapat yung ongoing NSCR, Metro Manila Subway System, Mindanao Railway at yung South Long Haul papuntang Bicol na cancel pa or put on hold. Ang suggestion ko, sana itong i-prioritize, hanapan ng magte-take over yung South Long Haul going to Bicol in Mindanao Railway System because this is this is how we will be able to create jobs and opportunities by laying down the tracks, laying down the infrastructure. So sana itong last 3 years, ang bilis ng panahon di ba? Nung una kasi, if you remember, nung panahon po ni Pangulong Duterte, yung pong build, I happened to defend the budget of the DOTR during that time. Kaya po nung nasil po yung NSCR and Metro Manila Subway with Japan, lagi po ako nakasama doon and I was a witness. Na-excite po ako kasi ito na yung di ba? At least mangyayari na. On the hindsight, 1998 pa, panahon pa ng President Erap, North Rail, South Rail, we lost already almost 30 years. Diba? So na-excite ako doon. And then nung pagpasok po ni President Bongbong Marcos, yung build, gagawin build better more, mas lalo ako na-excite. Mas dadamihan pa at magko-concentrate siya infra. Anong nangyari? Nabinbin itong yung South Long Haul and Mindanao Railway. Dapat po, ito, Mr. President, ako, kaibigan po, I want you to succeed because his success will be our success. Sana po, ito yung hanapan ng solusyon because pang long term po tayo I'm looking at what will be good for the future. Hindi lang, maraming sabi, kailangan natin trabaho at Hanaboy, I think ito po talaga ang investment natin for jobs and opportunities.
So sir, ano yung expectation mo under the leadership of Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon? Considering nakakausap mo siya, lahat ba itong mga frustration mo na nadidelay ng mga projects, may commitment na
Well, I'm optimistic with Secretary Vince Dizon. Actually, nag-meet na kami nung a few weeks before, after he assumed office. Kasi since ako po ang malamang na mag-defend ng DOTR budget dahil medyo kabisado na rin natin yan, yun lang yung pakiusap ko sa kanya na sana yung pang mga infrastructure projects na nakaput on hold, dapat i-pursue. No? And he agrees. No? And I think he's bagay na rin si Sec Vince Dizon for the job kasi marami tayong habulin Sabi ko nga, kung lahat ng government official tulad niya na yung hyper, Energizer Bunny nga, Totoy Bibo, lahat na. Pero yan ang kailangan natin And I'm in constant communication with him in the improvement of infrastructure. Hindi lang po yung railways, even the improvement of the airports, seaports. Nag-uusap na kami kung ano yung kinakailangan. May mga ina-identify ako. Kasi advantage ko, layas ako di ba? Because of my passion for riding, napupuntahan ko halos lahat. For example, yung mga airports, Umati Airport for the eastern side of Mindanao kasi malayo yan sa sa Davao, pero Davao Oriental, Compostela, Davao de Oro, Caraga region will benefit. Ang ganda rin ng lugar na yon, no? Maraming tourism areas and agricultural centers, but it's about 3-4 hours away from Davao City. So maganda ma-improve natin yung Mati Airport. Nilagyan natin ng funds yan last year. Daet Airport also, Naga Airport, para naman maging hindi na naka-cancel flight. So we are talking already on different infrastructure needs that we can fund to improve and help stimulate economic growth. Nag-usap na kami maaga, ano pa yung mga ports, airports, pero yung pakiusap ko talaga, sana yung po South Long Haul and Mindanao Railway, matuloy na. Actually, nasiro yan sa budget na nga for last year. Coming from the House, wala na zero budget. Nilagyan ng Senado yan ng at least 200 million each for the Project Management Office to continue na at least magtuloy-tuloy yung monitoring, yung studies, yung monitoring ng right of ways na kung may sakaling meron ng entity na mag-take over, ready na tayo, hindi yung mag-start right from scratch. So it was the Senate who added so that the Project Management Office will continue for the South Long Haul and Mindanao Railway System.
Okay, before the issue on impeachment and Senate leadership, sir, sinabi ni Secretary Dizon during the confirmation hearing na hindi viable sa ngayon yung public transport modernization program. Although parang itutuloy siya, kaya lang dapat munang ma-address dahil ang dami pang problema. So,
well, yun naman hindi natin kasi pwedeng talagang pilitin pag hindi handa, no? Just like NCAP, yung stand ko, I was one of those who sabi ko okay po yan, pabor po tayo dyan. That will instill discipline and improve yung enforcement, but the necessary infrastructure has to be there. Ito public PUV modernization, maganda po yan, no? It will make transport more modern, more reliable, more safe. Kaya lang kailangan din handa. Sa pagkakalam ko may mga problema pa kasi yung yung consolidation ng lines, no? Parang dapat maayos ngayon kasi LTFRB for so many years magulo. Issue na lang left and right ng franchises, but now we have to do it right, no? Na halimbawa, andiyan na yung mga railway. For example, railway na naman ako. Dapat yung mga feeder diyan, yung mga linya, yung mga linya ng buses, main buses, dapat naka-coordinate din doon, no? Naka-integrate. Tapos yung mga feeder line ng mga public jeepneys naman, naka-integrate din po doon. So, it's a general, dapat magkaroon talaga ng master plan for the routes as well, para maging mas maayos. Kaya lang kung hindi pa handa, huwag natin puwersahin. Kumbaga, slowly but surely siguro, dapat ganun ang gawin natin. Dapat hindi naman, especially yung iba na marami tayong jeepney drivers, operators, buses na kailangan din, may alternatibo rin sa kanila na maibibigay na hanaboy kung sakasakali or dapat ma-integrate sila dito sa bagong PUV modernization.
pati daw yung supplier dapat mapalitan, sabi yata ng Malacanang, sir.
Well, depende kung ano na lang, whatever supplier can give the best, yung pinaka-reliable, durable, at a reasonable price. Kasi medyo mahal din yung modern jeepney eh. I think yun yung challenge nun. It's the financing side also. Parang almost 1.5 to 2 million. Medyo mataas din. So kung magkakaroon tayo ng magandang scheme, financing scheme for the PUV operators that they can afford, no? Na siguro naka-spread out para naman kayanin po nila.
Okay. Other issue, Maki. Oh, sige, go.
Impeachment kagad.
Individual members of the UP College of Law para issued a statement urging the Senate to start the impeachment trial forthwith. Reaction lang po.
Well, alam mo, whether I made a statement yesterday, whether I am for it or I am not for it, is irrelevant. It's the Senate is duty bound to convene the impeachment court according to our constitution. Kumbaga, ano namin yan? Responsibilidad po namin yan. Nagsalta na po ako before, dati, sabi ko po, nung hindi pa po na-forward, sabi ko that time, hindi naman ako pabor talaga sa, dahil we have to be realistic about it, that impeachment is politically charged. No? It's both legal and more political. Dalawa po yan. Lahat naman po ng impeachment process is really politically charged. And my worry at the time, alam niyo naman, I shared my frustrations na naiiwan na po tayo na ASEAN neighbors natin, ang dami natin problema. No? Hindi lang transport, hindi lang to railway, hindi lang to airport. May energy pa tayo na dapat tignan. Power plants that would need to be online. Agriculture. At dami nating problemang kinakailangan na ayusin. And isa sa frustration ko, ang aga ng bangayan, no, sa administrasyon na ito, 1.5 years, 2 years, nagsimula na ang bangayan. Nanghinayang ako doon sa momentum, no, with the biggest mandates ever received by both the President, the Vice President. We were off to a good start. Ang ganda ng goodwill. Kaya lang napaaga yung bangayan na ito, humantong na nga po tayo sa magkakaroon na ng impeachment. Kaya po ako hindi pabor that time na sinabi ko kasi nga, ang dami nating pressing problems. Ang dami nating kailangan habulin. But in case, ito na, talaga namang itutuloy naman itong impeachment, whether we like it or not. As I mentioned, we are duty bound. Sana matapos agad. So we can, whatever the decision is, whatever the verdict is, I hope we can go back to our normalcy as soon as possible. Mahaba-haba at marami-rami tayong hahabulin. Ang worry ko rito, yung sabi ko nga, Vietnam is already tawag nito is already leaving us, nakalamang na sila, no, they're doing all the right things. Habang tayo nakastagnate. No? Meron akong figures nakalimutan ko lang pero talaga yung FDIs nila, we are getting just probably half or even less. So, ito po yung concern ko. Kaya sana kung sakali man magkaroon ng impeachment matapos ito sa lalo madaling panahon, hope we can wrap up, no, as soon as possible para po we can go back and go back to our businesses and of course yung po mga pressing problems, challenges ay that we could already give attention to.
Okay, sige.
What's your Sen, opinion dun sa seemingly na nadidelay yung pag-convene ninyo?
Well, I'm not defending the leadership or the Senate, no. Unang-una, pinasa ng House of Representatives yan. Kailan ba nila pinasa yan? Last day. 5 o'clock. We adjourned at 7. Di ba? 5 o'clock, talagang last minute din. They had all the time since December. Sana pinasa nila kagad so that we would have the time. So hindi lang, wag naman sana, I'm not defending the Senate, but I'm just stating the facts na sana, kung pinasa nila mas maaga, baka mas maaga rin na simulan.
Pero sir, may mga nagsasabi na dahil dun sa patuloy na pagkakadelay ng pagsisimula ng impeachment process, dun sa impeachment case laban kay BP Sara, parang ang on trial ngayon, yung Senado, hindi na si BP Sara. Parang dahil di ba ang daming batikos, ang daming mga iba't ibang opinion,
well,
parang kayo nang nalilitis, kayo na...
Hintayin na lang po natin. Ang one thing is for sure, we are duty bound, as I mentioned, to go through it. No? So matutuloy yan. Hindi naman, I don't think there's an attempt to derail or to stop.
Pero sir, sa consultation nyo sa inyong mga legal counsel, naniniwala ba sila na pwedeng tumalon, mag-crossover sa 20th Congress kapag nasimulan sa 19th itong...
Well, that will be a legal question. Di po ako abogado, but yan ang pagdidebatihan. Again, it might be that the 20th Congress already will be the one to decide whether to go through it or not. So, parang nandun na rin yun. Pwedeng, magsusumpa na kami ngayon, di ba? Bago siguro as impeachment court, but it will go through, mag-crossover na yan. So, it's still, again, the plenary will always be supreme. Kung ano pong maging desisyon ng Kongreso, the 20th Congress, then that will be followed.
Sir, dun sa umiikot, before RG, dun sa umiikot ho na resolution seeking Senate parang de facto dismissal noong impeachment case, yung po ba nabasa ninyo? At ano yung ba na inyong legal counsel ko nung...
Nabasa ko lang yan sa news, sa social media. So, hindi pa ako nakakuha. Hindi ko pa nakuha physically.
Hindi kayo binigyan pa ng copy,
Hindi
sir?
pa.
Sabi ni Senator Bato, binibigyan yata yung mga interesado lang dun sa resolution. RG.
Sir, kasi sabi niyo po, it will probably be the 20th Congress na maghahandle na dun sa trial. But you are one of the 17 senators from the 19th Congress who will serve in the 20th Congress. So it's a question that inevitably you will have to decide on. So ano po ba ang, sa tingin niyo, pwede niyo bang i-handle yan as 20th Congress?
I think whether like it or it will be the next Congress already, no? That will already serve as senator judges, diba? So whatever, again, as I mentioned, whatever, plenary will always be supreme. Kung ano pong mapag-usapan, collegial body kami. Kung ano ang opinion ko, whether I'm for it or not, gusto ko ba, we just have to follow what the body would decide on.
So tuloy yung preparation nyo, sir? Dahil nandun yung possibility na
I think, yun naman ang nasa Constitution. Again, as I mentioned, Palagi yun, nagsalita na ako doon. We are duty bound. No? That's our responsibility.
Okay, Amor.
Sen, but what are your thoughts so far doon sa resolution? Sabi niyo po kanina, you don't think there is an attempt to delay or to stop the impeachment proceedings. Pero yung resolution po na umiikot is for the de facto dismissal of
You know, we are in
impeachment case.
democracy. Iba-iba tayo ng posisyon. No? Kaya nga democracy tayo eh. So, lahat yan, we have to engage in debates, discussions to be able to come up with the best solution. No? So, ano lang yan? It's one, nanggaling yan sa isang legislator, then isang group, then we will discuss on it. No? Hindi naman ibig sabihin, may lumabas na ganyan ang lahat.
Kayo po, Sen, are you inclined to side or support or
probably
not?
I cannot speak anymore on impeachment because actually, hindi na ako dapat magsalita dyan because we will be serving as senator judges. Ano na nga kami, may instruction na kung pwedeng hindi kami magsalita about it. But I think I have already given my position that we have to go through it. No? Lang, kasi kami will be serving as senator judges in the event that it pushes through. So, siguro na, para lang mawala yung na meron kaming bias, meron kaming inclination. So, whether, for example, I'm in favor of pushing through with the impeachment because sabi ko nga, duty bound kami. Hindi maibig sabihin for conviction na ako. Diba? And that will give the accused also the chance to clear his or her name. Diba? And na-record si BP Sara, gusto na nga niya para malinis yung mabigay niya ebidensya. So, ayun. So, it doesn't mean that kung pabor ka na matuloy yan, ay for conviction ka na or non-conviction.
Sir, yung sabi nga ni Senator Coco Pimentel, the mere fact na na-impeach si BP Sara sa Kamara, parang karapatan daw ng taong bayan na malaman ano ba yung mga ebidensya mayroon yung mga kongresista na nag-impeach sa kanya, and at the same time, mabigyan ng chance si BP Sara na sagutin yung mga kaso laban sa kanya.
Well, yun naman talaga nun. I think it's how the impeachment is designed so that the impeached can be given the chance also to air his or her side. So,
pero sir, ito bang pagkaka-delay ng pagsisimula ng impeachment process sa Senate, may connection ba ito sa Senate leadership?
wala naman siguro. I don't think there's any connection with that. Masyado marami ng issues, marami ng angulo eh. I don't think that's connected at all.
So, intriga lang po ba yung lumabas na balita?
Tingalo, kasama ako doon sa sa mga caricature di ba? Sa 11 na stop impeachment. I have already said, no? Kasama tayo doon. Isa kami sa mga 11 para lang ma-retain yung leadership. But as I mentioned, we are nasa constitution yan eh. And we cannot it's a sworn duty to uphold the constitution.
So sir, habang tumatagal, parang nandun ba yung may mga grupo na nandun yung pang-pressure? Parang mahirap ba yung sitwasyon ninyo dahil ang daming public opinion, may mga nag-rally na rin. So ano yung parang...
As I mentioned, kahit anong sabihin nyo na legal, but it's more politically charged. So, of course, we are tao din tayo, no? We are sensitive to the public opinion, to everything. Kaya as much as possible, we do not want to say anything anymore about it, no? Kasi when it convenes, magkakaroon kami. Pag may nasabi ako ngayon,
magagamitin against.
magiging tainted na ako doon. Baka maano pa ako. Sabihin, mag-inhibit pa, di ba? I will, mababawasan pa ng isang hurado. So, that's why I wouldn't want to comment anymore I guess I have already said my piece.
How about sa Senate leadership? Ilan na po ba yung nangliligaw para hingin ang inyong suporta, sir?
Natural naman po yan. In a new Congress, no, talagang unfortunately, panay kapartido pa mga I am torn in between, no. I serve under Senator Soto also. Malaki pong utang na loob ko sa kay Senate President Soto also because it was during his Senate presidency that I was able to pass 2 landmark legislations. Yan po Universal Healthcare Law and the creation ng Department of Human Settlements. Siya po nag-push talaga sa akin nun. And I owe that much to him. Pinagkakatiwalaan din niya ako nun. Parang wala pang deputy majority but I was also always more often presiding or helping in the deliberations on the floor. Kay Senator Zubiri naman, di ba? I became deputy majority leader, but now kay Senator Cheese, now a Senate President, he asked me to be deputy majority leader again, and I'm part of the leadership right now. No? And I would say that not to defend or to praise him, but I think the Senate was able to pass a lot of priority measures. Medyo marami ring accomplishments under the leadership of Senate President Cheese. So, it's a difficult choice, no? Pareho kung naging kapartido, NPC po kami pare-pareho. So, but we'll see. Hindi naman ako pwedeng I told na siguro kung sakali may manliligaw sa akin, I'll be the last na lang siguro because I'm part of the leadership of the Senate.
So you are torn between Senate President Cheese and former Senate President Tito Soto.
Oo nga eh. Siguro para hindi ako mator, tatakbo na rin ako Senate President. Para hindi na ako mag-isip. Tatakbo rin ako para wala na akong papaligan.
How about Senator Amy Marcos? Hindi hinihingi pa ang suporta niyo, sir?
Hindi naman siya nagsabi sa akin. Kabiruan ko yun. Matagal ko na rin kaibigan yan.
Pero sa bandang huli, ano yung mga i-consider mo sa pagde-decide mo? Sino yung susuporta?
Well, of course, first and foremost, who will be better and good for the institution. No? We have so many challenges, we have so many problems, ang daming problema ng bansa. We are in challenging times, no? Challenge talaga. So I guess I will have to choose a leader who will be able to steer the Senate during these turbulent, challenging times.
Okay, si Mark muna and then si Maki.
Yes, about the Senate presidency pa rin, Senator. Since sa NPC has the party leadership told the members in the Senate to toe the line, to step in na para wala na po yung ganitong difficult choice between two NPC members. And my second question is, has SP Cheese ever offered the majority leader post to you as to get your support?
Siguro doon po sa partido, mahirap kasi pareho kapartido namin, no? Former Senate President Soto is NPC. Si Senate President Cheese is also NPC. Senator Loren is also NPC. Halos lahat kami dito, marami kaming NPC there's no instruction from the party. Kasi nga parehong kapartido eh. Siguro kung isa lang, madali. So probably mahirap din para sa partido mag-decide on who to support.
Pero sir, better daw ba na lawyer ang Senate President kapag nagkaroon ng impeachment?
Hindi naman requirement, but I think preferably kasi it's not ordinary parliamentary procedures. This is a court, more of court proceedings, no? Yung mga rulings. So, mas may advantage kung sakasakali, kung ikaw ay abogado. Hindi naman kailangan, pero I think because of the proceedings, na more of court proceedings to than parliamentary.
So, my second question is, have you been offered the majority leader post? Since deputy po kayo, parang it's just natural that you get to be promoted to that post.
Marami, sa ngayon, I'm just, ako, kinasa deputy majority leader, just doing my job, no? Yung majority leader kasi, talagang it will be one of the most coveted, no? Yung offer. So, marami talagang offer pag may change in leadership. Pero sa ngayon, siguro, okay na ako sa deputy na. Kung mabigyan akong pa opportunity, why not? Diba? Pero whether I be offered or not, again, primary consideration will be someone who will be able to uphold the institution, especially, and steer the institution during these challenging times, and yung pong uphold ng Senate as an institution.
Okay, Maki?
Actually, Sen, ika-clarify ko lang. Soto and Cheese lang ba? O may iba pa?
Si Amy pa. I think Senator Amy already also.
So officially,
Kasi meron din silang block
lumabas
di ba? So we do not know. It's a numbers game. Whoever can get the 13 or more, ganun yun eh. Kailangan 13 or more.
Ilan na lumapit sa'yo, Sen? Lahat sila?
Makakausap naman. Of course, sabi ko, tignan natin. But sabi ko na lang, station still ongoing. We are still in the 19th Congress. I'm part of the leadership as a courtesy and respect to Senate President Cheese, who gave me the trust and confidence. Siyempre, kung sakali, I'll be the last. Kung sakasakali na meron talagang change. Because I'm part of the leadership of Senator Escudero at present.
Sir, option din daw ba yung na magkaroon nila ng gentleman's agreement during the impeachment trial, SP Cheese, and then after that, saka SP Soto?
Well, nasa sa kanila na po yun. No? Mas maganda, walang away. Mas maganda, magsama-sama kami. No? Especially that we're in one party. So ideally, mas maganda kung hindi kami magkawatak-watak dito.
Malaking factor po ba yan kung sino magiging Senate President dun sa distribution ng committee chairmanship?
Of course, kasama naman po yan, no? Yung committees, yung leadership positions. Natural po naman yun, kasama po yun sa mga panliligaw eh. So, we'll see. But ako, I'm already satisfied with what I am handling right now. No? Committee on Local Government, before Committee on Housing, as Deputy, majority. Right now, parang ako rin yung majority kasi during the campaign, at saka ngayon, halos ako na rin yung functioning. So, I'm quite I'm already happy doing my job, my task, no, that is asked of me.
Okay, no more. Sir, last na lang, bilang dating Committee on Health Chairman, conforme ba ka ba sa panawagan ng Department of Health na ideklara ni Presidente na National Public Health Emergency na itong HIV cases dahil 500% yung increase kung saan karamihan pa ng victims kabataan?
I think we leave it up to the experts, no? Siguro DOH, doon sa UHC meron tayong HTAC, yung mga experts, mga specialists. Mas alam po nila yan eh. No? But in case, it's quite alarming kung 500% ang increase ng HIV cases among the young and yung mga Gen Z, no? Kailangan ano na yan, we have to look into it, no? Talagang kailangan bigyan atensyon na yan on how it can be prevented, no?
Lalo na sir, sa Palawan may 12 o 13-year-old na victim ng HIV, so
Masyadong bata,
alarming
no?
na po.
Medyo alarming. So it's up to kung nasa presidente kung ano po yung kanilang desisyon. I think the experts know better than us. We're just there to support. Kung kinakailangan ng funding later on, magbabudget na naman. I'll be vice chair, so I'll be handling some agencies. So doon lang makakatulong eh. So I think those things will leave it to those in the health department and the experts.
Okay, no more? On that, okay, JV.
So lang po, balik lang po sa wage hike. Ayun, so since naghabol na po tayo and other senators also expressed yung support sana dun sa 200 peso wage hike, pero ang kinakatakot nga rin is baka mamaya veto or hindi balance. Do you think dapat makonsulta rin si Pangulo kung para magkaroon tayo ng close figure kung ano yung mas feasible?
Of course, kinakailangan siguro bago siguro kaysa ma-veto, no? Minsan pag may chance naman tinatanong natin kung ano pa yung concern para we can make the necessary adjustments or again position natin dyan. Kung ang gusto ko sana makuha yung figures in yung position ng mga employers and business sector, kung hanggang saan talaga yung kaya. Again, kung